Alrighty, welcome everybody. It is Sunday, October 16th, 2016. I appreciate all you guys in here. We have almost 50 people in here. Thank you very much for everybody being here. Markets just opened about 2 hours ago. We're going to go through all of these pairs over here. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to throw it in the chat room. I will definitely answer any questions that you guys have. All right, so first and foremost, we're going to start with gold, guys. If I remove that arrow right here, right? That's my bias, of course. I believe it still has room to the downside. We have a giant bear flag forming, guys. If you guys know anything about they're different people call it different things, right? Impulses, wave theory, flags, pennants, however you want to call it. But it's anytime you have a period of just a big drop, a big move up or down, right? And then you have a big time of consolidation, a period of consolidation that you can clearly mark off. More than 50% of the time, that move it's going to keep going in the direction of the original impulse, right? And so we have a textbook example right here on gold forming on the daily. So I would expect at some point, and we have it really clearly marked off also, and it works really well. Let me go ahead and annotate this for everybody. You guys can actually see there's some good confluence over here. You know, we have some consolidation resistance in this area right here, right? We have Brexit low right here. And then we have the current consolidation that we're in, right? We have this support right here laying at basically the 1250 level. 1249.90 is what I have it marked on here. It's a zone though. If you guys have been following me for a while, you guys know that I talk about zones, areas, right? It's not always a specific price level. So this general area, like the 1250 area, price is struggling to break, but I still would be biased to the downside, right? We had some moves last week. Dollar is increasing in strength also right towards the end. You guys can see over here, we're going to look at the DXY, the dollar index. So I would expect at some time this week price to move lower, right? I would expect the week to close obviously lower than where it opens, but I would say in the 12, you know, very conservatively in the 1240 area, if not lower. But we do have some support forming in this area. This is kind of like a wait and see, guys. It's if you guys have been following gold plays, right? We've been scalping some shorts in here on the premium group, right? We've been scalping shorts on the way down all last week. But I was talking to you guys that if you guys have also read the Naked Forex, if you guys have read the methodology of the last kiss, which is a strategy in there, that we're going to trade this live, the last kiss, right? We're waiting for a candle to break out, right? Ideally a daily candle, right? A daily candle to break out of this consolidation. And then you guys would kind of have to read through the Naked Forex, but you wait for a breakout candle and then you wait for the next candle to go in and retest this area, but it has to close outside of the area on the same side that it broke out on, right? That's either to the upside or the downside. So I'm just more biased to the downside also, especially with the close of Friday's candle, right? Very bearish. It closed lower, right? So we're gradually making very incrementally lower lows. As you can see, these 3 daily candles are just, each of them are incrementally lower than the next. So it's still pushing its way lower. We're below the moving averages on the daily. So there's still a very negative, still biased tone on this. And I would say once we break this area, if we break this area, and when I say break, guys, I talk about this a lot, right? So I hope I don't bore you guys repeating the same thing over and over. But when I say a break of this area, you see how these 2 candles, like this candle, let me draw it out for you guys. This candle, right, and this candle, they broke it for sure, right? They broke this area, but they didn't have conviction to close below, right? You see even this candle right here, this red candle, it still didn't break lower than it has on the 4-hour. Okay, now if this candle had closed below or this candle had closed below, then that would have given us conviction to continue selling, right? But these instead turn into exhaustion candles because the buyers came back and pushed price up and said, basically it's not ready for price, to go down yet. So when I say a close below or when I say a break below, I'm waiting for an actual candle close, and not a close on the 15-minute, not a close on the 5-minute, not a close on the 30-minute, or even the 1 hour. A close ideally on the daily, but a 4-hour will do depending on the pattern that you're trading, how strong the pattern is. This is a very strong, if you guys study, like I'll pull it up. I do this all the time. Boom, right here. Actually, no. Baby pips, and it's pennants right here. It's one of the lessons in here. Boom. Okay, so right here. So they talk about it, right? So this is another reason why I think all of you guys should go. If you guys aren't familiar with this, you guys are brand new to following me and watching this, babypips.com is a great free place, like completely free. They don't charge you a penny at all. Like A to Z, basically, you just click on the school. It gives you all these lessons. There's all these sub lessons, all these different grades, all these different things you can learn. And it really gives you a general idea. You know, it's not going to make you like a master, but it will give you a good understanding. So when you're following people like myself and other professional traders, you'll be able to follow along and things will make a lot more sense. You'll be able to connect all the dots, you know, from learning the things that Baby Pips teaches you. So a bearish pennant right here, just like this is just like a classic like textbook thing you have to know. You know, it's a very good high probability setup that forms, you know, and it's one of those things that it's not going to form all the time, but when it does, like it is on gold right now, you take advantage of it, right? So it's basically saying when you, and this works for both sides, it shows it down here too, uptrend, downtrend, right? But basically a big move, you know, a big impulse, either up or down, and then a period of consolidation. You have a high probability of that same impulse, right? It shows it here, the same length impulse happening again, right? And so that's what we're expecting on gold to happen, right? So you look at that, right? Where it basically broke previous support in this area around like the 1300 level essentially, and now it's at the 1250, right? So it went down $50. So if it's going to go down to the same impulse, right, then your analysis should be going down another $50, which you guys can see, like I have it right down here, is the next level of support, right? This whole area can be brought back, right? Because we already drew. So you guys might be wondering, why do I have these black lines here? It's because like they're always going to be there, because price will eventually, it's gold, guys, right? It's silver, gold, it's always going to keep going up. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So, you know, I'll extend this out basically, and eventually once gold comes back up to this area, this will be a big level of resistance. But we broke this level of support right last week, or not last week, I'm sorry. I think it was the week before last. But we broke this big level of support, and now the sellers have just taken complete control. You know, we had this ginormous drop here. Now we're back into consolidation, but we're still to the downside. So I just talked a lot about gold, just because that's still one of the high ones on my priority. So if you guys are looking at these ones over here and you guys are looking for good ones to trade, basically put gold on your watch list and just have your analysis that when you see a 4-hour, a daily candle close below 1249.90 or 1250, you know, that zone, that means the sellers are picking back up momentum and to get in the trade, right? Let's see here. All right, just a couple comments in the chat, not too many questions. Cool. Yep, and it's actually, so you said, Justin, you said which would drive the dollar up. It's actually the dollar going up, which is driving gold down. Which, I mean, it's you know, vice versa. It's the same both ways, right? You're buying one thing and you're selling the other. But I would say gold going down is more from the dollar strengthening more than gold weakening. But then also you have to go off the technicals too. You know, the technicals always trump fundamentals. So the support was broken. So all right, let's go ahead and move on to Euro USD. All right, if you guys know a lot about like me personally, like my trading style, I talk a lot about correlation. I don't really base trades off of correlation. It's the last thing that I look at when I look to get into a trade. But generally speaking, it's nice to have like a good idea of market correlation, so you can kind of relate things to each other and things make sense. But what I mean by that as a segue into what I'm saying is that Euro USD and gold move very similarly. So you can see that Euro USD kind of did the same thing that gold did. It was in this area, broke out of some support, and now the sellers have taken a lot of control. I'm definitely expecting the euro to continue going down, guys. 110%, at least, like much further, right? If we had to like plot the next level of resistance, right? Just like gold, it does have some support to break, and then support would, the next level would be like the 108.60 area. I would clearly see conservatively it going down to at least 109 at some point. Friday's candle was extremely bearish. Lots of potential to the downside still. The dollar is still strengthening. However, also, guys, and I apologize, I jumped right into the technicals, right? I get so excited because there's a lot of good setups this week, but let's just jump to the calendar real quick because this does relate to what we're saying. Let me just refresh this real quick. So guys, just real quick, sorry not to get off on a tangent, but if you guys have been following me, you know that I always start with the economic calendar. I just accidentally just jumped right into the technical analysis, so I apologize. But tomorrow, guys, Monday, we do have President Draghi speaking, so I really wouldn't look to take any serious positions, like week-long positions or anything on the euro until, you know, you read a report, you read what Draghi kind of their tone was. But remember that the technicals, guys, always trump fundamentals. So at the end of the day, you know, when you see a week with a lot of red folders, like don't get too freaked out. You know what you're looking at, right? AUD, NZD, you pretty much want to stay away from that right now. Even though, but still, because we're going to look at it, but technically speaking, it's still in a range, both those pairs. But we'll look. Lots of red folders next week, guys. Tuesday, pound news, Canadian news, dollar news, Chinese yuan news, right? So you just kind of want to be aware about things like this. Wednesday, lots of news too, right? Lots of CAD news, lots of AUD news. So pretty heavy week as far as the fundamentals go. And that's why I wanted to come and look at this. We will tread lightly, but it still doesn't mean that there's not opportunities, right? Like I said, the technicals will always overcome fundamentals, just not what I believe, but what is actually true. It's like, you guys, if you know about trading, the technicals will always overcome fundamentals, except for things like, you know, Brexit and big things that you can't control. But we're talking about just like little regular things like employment rates, you know, little pieces of news, even though they're a high volatility news. If it's only like one piece, it's just going to might make the market like spike up or spike down, but it's not going to like change the trend of an entire market. So, but you always want to be aware of what's going on. That doesn't mean to just trade it. So it's kind of interesting with news. You just want to be careful with it. You just want to be aware, essentially. Bob says technicals do not trump fundamentals. Fundamentals shift sentiment, but price moves technically. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So, I mean, price moves technically, so price will always move in the technical direction. So, but fundamentals, like it just depends on what it is, right? If it's an interest rates, you can't control the way the markets are going to move. That's going to change sentiment. But we're talking about little small things on the market. We aren't, you know, big things like unemployment rate and, you know, the elections, interest rates, big things like that, NFP, those things can move the markets a lot, but I don't think overall changing the tone unless it's a very big thing like interest rates, basically anything having to do with the central banks, like inflation. So be careful with the economic calendar this week, guys. Be careful with the news. Lots of different things going on. And then Friday also, lots of Canadian news also this week. So oil will be going pretty crazy. The Canadian dollar will be going pretty crazy. Overall, the dollar is going to continue to strengthen, in my opinion. We're going to look at the dollar index at the end. You'll be able to easily see why. USD chafe, same thing. We've been on a buy, right? In these trades, we've been scalping up these directions all for the past probably the past 2 weeks, trading in the direction of where things are slowly starting to move towards. And so USD chafe broke out. All right. It's looking similarly to gold, right? We're waiting for it's like a wait and see. We're right at this high, right? We use these fib levels to get an entry on Friday. All right, we had a retest. You guys can see it broke through resistance, retested. Now right here we have the near term resistance. Right there, right? So as long as we can get, again, it's just like gold, right? As long as we can get a daily candle or a 4-hour candle to close above basically 99, right? Or 99.09, you can trade it 100 pips, to parity, trade it to 1.0. First take profit should be around here, right? At the next level of resistance, this double top area. Right, 99.50, and then you could go again, hold the trade, see what happens, observe price action, and then from there you have like the one level parity for this pair. So we'll see where that goes, but it is poised to go higher, just like Euro USD is poised to go lower. And you guys know, right? If we're talking about correlation, you guys will know Euro USD and USD chafe, they generally tend to do the opposite of each other, right? All right. Pound dollar and pound jappy, right? I would expect, I don't think they're done moving down. Definitely not, right? They have much lower to go down. I think the pound dollar is going to head towards the 120 level easily. I think pound jappy is going to head towards the 125, 124 level easily, right? Still large conviction to the downside. This week, it's already started to move towards the downside pretty hard. These pairs tend to move. You'll notice pound pairs, they've been moving a lot towards the beginning of the week. So they're already starting to make their moves. I'm staying away from them. You guys have noticed we haven't really traded much since the flash crash, but I would still be poised to the downside. AUD USD, this is what I mean, guys. Last week, right, trade went perfectly, right? Remember the head and shoulders we had back in this area, came back up to test, got in this area, rode it all the way down, but it did hit this support, right? Support we have in this area. I think this week we're gonna see a test of this support again, because gold is being pulled down lower too, and you guys know again to go with correlation. Generally, gold and AUD USD and NZD USD, right? They all have like a generally biased positive tone, right? So that if they all go up, they all go up, or they all go down, they all go down. But you guys will see market divergence sometimes. So like, especially on Friday, right? AUD USD shot up and NZD USD didn't go up as high, but came down a little bit harder. So I think that they're going to still continue to test. Let's look at NZD USD. Right? So AUD USD, I would honestly stay away from, guys, because there's a lot of support in this area. Right? It's still in this kind of this wedge, if you will. So I would focus on NZD USD. And you guys can see, I mean, and again, sorry if this is like when I go through this, guys, if this kind of looks confusing to you guys, definitely please watch the periscopes, please watch the webinars. I go in depth and detail sometimes on exactly what we're looking for, but you guys can see we have this red line right here at the 71.23, right? We have this, well, I'm going to drop it down on the 4 hours so you can see it better, but we have this support, then this resistance, we have this support level that NZD USD broke, right? We also have on Friday, right, nice exhaustion candle forming after a retest. So there's no reason why it can't come down and finish its cycle down at the 69.80 area. You guys know about wave trading, right? Elliott wave theory, right? It's not, and again, guys, I don't have like one specific way I trade. It's just good to be knowledgeable on every way. But Elliott wave theory, right? Elliott believes that the wave theory that it moves in 5 waves or 5 impulses instead of, the original 3 impulses. So if we talk about 5 impulses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We need a 5th impulse. So I would still be biased to the downside with this. I think we'll come down easily and test the 70 area. And then from there, possibly go lower. But eventually, guys, gold is just the lower gold goes, the better it's going to look to buy, right? Around the 12 area, once price makes it down there, at that point, we're going to be looking to buy for long term, right? Easily like, 2,000 pips, up to 1,400, 1,300 at first. Easily though, guys, easily, definitely. But it's not time to buy yet. Yep, we'll come down to oil down here. So let's continue our way down, guys. NZD USD would probably be the better setup, definitely. But you guys know how it is. Sunday is not good days to trade, right? These are trap days, right? These are days that market makers will make the markets look, specific ways to trap traders that are too eager to wait, impatient traders, basically. So we're waiting for some good setups, guys. But I'll leave it with that. If you guys know AUD USD and NZD USD, they move very technically. They're very smooth pairs. But that's kind of all I'll say about that. But it's definitely solid too for the downside still. So USD Jappy, guys, right? Some stuff we made some money on this on Friday also. Let's look at on the daily, right? We have this larger channel back here that we broke out of a couple weeks ago or last week, right? And then we had this lower channel that we were in that we also broke out of. Okay, so we kind of had like this pitchfork going on in here that we broke out of. So buyers have just kind of taken control of this, and I say we're easily going to see the 106 levels still. I think that decision was made last week once we still made some moves, continued to make a series of higher highs and higher lows. Again, though, it is Sunday, guys. We want to see from Friday if everything from Friday was a fake out, or if the bulls that came through on Friday, Thursday night, Friday morning were, a true test of the bulls, if they were really ready for price to go up. But I would still be biased to the upside, guys. We made some definitely we're making money all last week on this pair in the premium group. So it's been a very good ride. And then I think we still have more to come, guys. It's still going to break up higher, but same thing, wait for a 4-hour a daily candle to close above resistance, right above this area, right before you get in. Or I mean, you can take aggressive buys if it pulls back down here. This green area is the invalidation level, of course, right? If we see a candle come below, price come below, basically the 103 area, the buys are invalid. We're back in a sell mode, right? And that's how you guys have to trade essentially. We talk about that more in the premium group and the premium webinars, but really trading is very simple. It's about identifying key levels of support and resistance on higher time frames, waiting for price to get to them and either respect the level or break through it, right? It's either going to do one of two things. It's always either going to bounce or it's going to break off of it. Or it's going to break through it and keep going. So you just have to identify key levels, right? And so the stronger they are, right, the farther they go back, the stronger they are and the more important they become. All right. And yeah, this is without, I see someone talking about the fib levels. This is without even, I don't like to throw fib levels on it too much on the free webinars because It confuses a lot of people. A lot of people don't understand Fibonacci levels, so I try to just keep it as simple as possible with price action. USD CAD, we kind of stayed away from last week, right? I had been talking for some time when it was in this area. Eventually, it was going to be setting up for a sell, but it did make a couple fake outs, right? Broke through this resistance level. So when it's just not clear, guys, it's okay if you miss a trade, right? It's better to miss a trade and acknowledge that you just missed it, and it's horrible to have that hindsight, that woulda, coulda, shoulda mindset. Don't ever think that you missed out on pips. Think that if you made pips, profit is profit, and it's better to profit and walk away with something rather than going into the negative. So USD CAD could still fall a little bit further. This week we looked at the economic calendar, right? Lots of news for CAD, right? Friday, Wednesday, right? Some things on Tuesday, lots of things. So we'll look at oil and USD CAD, but I would still stay away from them. You guys can see this would be an area that I would still be biased to the downside, right? Although the dollar is getting stronger, the demand for oil is going to rise with OPEC talking about cuts, guys. So that's going to create a demand for oil, which is going to be good for the Canadian dollar, which is going to send the CAD down. So if you guys have been wondering that, and so if you guys might want to write that down in your notes too. So this would be a pair that definitely highly relies on sentiment and fundamentals over technicals. So but at the same time too, it has respected technicals with it being at resistance. So it could go both ways. But either way, guys, what you guys should write down is that as the demand for oil increases, right? If oil goes up, right, because there's a demand for oil, that's going to have USD CAD going down because that's going to create demand for the CAD, right? That's going to be so US oil going up is good for oil, which would be good for CAD, and USD CAD going down is good for CAD. So that's why it goes down. So if you guys have been wondering why, if the dollar has been doing so strong, why all last week did it fall? Why did USD CAD fall? It's because oil is having the sentiment over oil, the sentiment over OPEC's cuts on oil is driving the Canadian dollar higher, right? The demand for the Canadian dollar higher because there's an increased demand for oil, to put it simply. But I would highly recommend, guys, if you guys are trying to understand this stuff, so you can just say the same thing stuff too. You have it memorized just like that. Skim through things, not be careful with the different websites out there, but websites like Reuters and Bloomberg and things that talk about, I don't, I'm sure there's bad news everywhere, right? I'm sure there's probably people listening that hate Bloomberg or hate Reuters or whatever, but there's good things everywhere and there's bad things everywhere. So as long as you're just being careful about what you read and you're just acknowledging your sources, different things like that, it's still good to kind of get your feet wet, if you will, and kind of be able to kind of immerse yourself in the world economy and understand that. It's very important if you plan on trading professionally or trading long term. Honestly, understanding and reading the charts is only half of it. Being able to understand the behind the scenes and understand the fundamentals and what's going on with different things around the world economy, that's very key also to learn. So this is the dollar index, guys. A lot of people have been asking me, how do you get it on TradingView? It's DXY. All right, so this essentially measures the sentiment, if you will, or the strength on the dollar. Okay, so as this rises, you'll see things like Euro USD go down, right? Because that's going to be the dollar rising. So essentially, if you were to look at these two pairs, right? Kind of interesting, right? You look at them on the 4-hour and they look really similar, right? Because if this is going up, that's going to be good for the dollar. And if Euro USD is going down, that's good for the dollar as well. So you'll see different correlations like that. But so this is a really key indicator, just so all across the board, you can see how well the dollar is doing. All right. Same thing with gold, when this is going up, you can expect gold to more than likely be going down. All right. And you can already see, right, this would also be an indicator of why it's kind of cool to, get a couple charts under your belts, because if you were to look at, I would plot resistance right there. You know, that's where we have major resistance, where we have the consolidation. You know, some people might say right there, the very tip top, but I'd still say right there. And we've had already a close above this. So I still believe we're still going to rally through this based on the technical side of things also. And at the end of the day too, you know, the trend is your friend. It's easier for us. It's better risk to continue trading with the trend, right? We look at the trend here. Of course, anybody looking at this can say it's going up, right? You can take someone that doesn't even know how to look at charts, and you can see that it's going up, right? So you trade with the trend. You have more risk because it's easier to trade with the trend. You have better risk trading with the trend than it is to guess a reversal. If you guys think about that, you know, it took me a while, but that's the one way. When I remember when I was learning how to trade and taking a lot of losses, like it made way more sense to just trade with the trend, even if it didn't look like it was going to keep going, right? Even if it looks like, oh, it's at the top, right? Because you're trying to basically guess a reversal. Like you're trying to pinpoint a perfect reversal, and your analysis is essentially saying price will never ever continue going in that direction, right? It's crazy if you like break down the psychology of it, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's like, of course price is probably going to keep going that way, in that direction, right? It's been going in this direction all the way down here. It's just, it goes back to the whole psychology of the market of price repeats itself. History repeats itself, right? On a large scale, on a small scale, on all time frames, history repeats itself. That's what the whole thing has. That's the whole thing about markets. That's how us retail traders get by, is by understanding patterns and understanding price action, right? I don't use indicators or, you know, stochastics or Bollinger Bands to tell me when to buy and sell. We read what the market's doing based on what the candlesticks are doing and where price is at in relationship to previous price, right? In relationship to previous support and resistance. So that's the dollar index analysis. Keep going higher, right? It's going to keep going higher, just like, you know, we could probably see it come up to this area. First area, in this general area, and then up in here, right? But it's going to continue rallying. There's nothing left holding it, right? And sometimes you can use fib levels also to find your next key level of support and resistance. Okay, Fibonacci extensions. All right. So if we talk about an extension, right? Now you have your extension right here at the 161.8%, which also would be in conviction with this zone, right? So long-term traders in this area, now that it's broken this, you could probably be shooting for this area, the 99.60, the 100 level, this zone, right? Keeping in mind it respects, you know, and breaks through this resistance and doesn't respect it, you know? So different things. So it's nice to have a couple different things to look at when you analyze. Don't get overwhelmed, right? I recommend when you're brand new, pick a couple pairs that you've done well with on a demo account, right? Because that's the key, right? You don't want to just jump in trading live, right? You don't want to just fund a live account. You want to practice first. So when you were demoing, whichever pairs you were having the best analysis with, you were able to connect with the most, focus on those 1, 2, or 3 pairs, and then trade those, master those, and then slowly add on more. All right, oil. You guys know I'm not a huge oil trader. There's just been it's just at some pretty key levels. So I've been looking at it, been scalping it a little bit, scalped a couple sells on it last week. You know, it did respect this resistance in this area, right? The double top. So it could come down to this area again, right? This area, the double, and make like a double bottom, like the 49.14. All right, but that's it. Definitely use that as a disclaimer, guys. I'm not like an oil guru or anything like that, but the charts move technically, right? Everything is about the technical analysis. So we've got, you know, this resistance here, this support here when I'm analyzing this, And that's the great part about learning like price action and stuff. You know, it doesn't matter if I'm looking at gold or a pair I've never looked at or stocks, you know, whatever it is, you can look at a chart and identify patterns in price action. So it's key. But we do have this trend line right here, right? If this trend line gets broken, right, if we can get a 4-hour candle to close below this trend line, then that's conviction to sell, right? But again, though, it's Sunday, though. You know, we're talking on a Sunday also. So these are things that might not happen right away. Okay. I don't recommend, guys, I don't recommend doing any type of trading until at least Monday, guys. I don't recommend jumping into any trades right when the market's open. You know, the first 5-6 hours the markets are open. Definitely not recommended. Not recommended at all. And sometimes you will miss moves, right? I also do not recommend gap trading. Okay, I know a lot of people that swear by gap trading. All right. I do not recommend gap trading, right? It's not a very smart thing. Look at this. I pulled up the pound dollar because I think last week there was an opportunity to gap trade and I knew it wasn't going to close, right? This was the beginning of not last week, but the week before last, I believe, or maybe it was the beginning of last week, right? But the gap never closed, right? It's kind of hard to zoom in. Right? Markets open down here. Some people probably took a buy, wrote it up, right? They saw this big bullish candle, right? And then they missed the whole trend on the market, which is down, right? And if you guys have been following me for a while, right? You guys have had definite opportunities, right? We've talked about back when price was in here. If you guys have been following me since back in early August, you know, when price was in this area, okay, after Brexit, we talked about this being a giant bear flag, right? We talked about for like almost every single week on the weekly webinar. So I'm more of like I see where price is going on a long-term, like weekly basis. So when you guys are hearing my analysis, I'm talking about where I expect price to go over the week, over the course of the week, you know, not over the next few hours, not necessarily by Tuesday, but by Friday, basically, I expect, you know, when we're going through the pairs, and I say like, I expect gold to move lower. That means sometime throughout the week, there's going to be something or some sort of impulse or something that moves gold lower, right? You can't pinpoint it always 100% of the time. And I found that to be a more successful style of trading, right? I feel like taking, you know, less than 10 trades per week and is definitely the best way to have long-term success, right? I think that the infrequency of trades is what'll save your account in the long run. I think over trading is what will kill a lot of people. You know, there's a lot of people out there that can make a lot of money very quickly off of scalping, but it's not something that is able to be consistent all the time, guys. You can't, I mean, unless you're gonna like dedicate 24/7 to trading, you know, and you have like absolutely no life, you really aren't going to be able to scalp every single day of the weekend. And you know, the whole idea behind trading is time freedom, right? To be able to do what you want. You know, you don't want to be sitting in front of the charts all day long, just staring at the charts, going numb, like, you know, scalping and stuff. That's the way you learn in the beginning, right? But when you're a professional, you should be just able to just put trades in the beginning of the week or the beginning of the day. Let the trades run through. You aren't checking the charts. Ideally, you know, you have, because when you go into a trade, you're supposed to have confidence in the trader. You aren't supposed to take it all, right? So you aren't supposed to. You don't trade emotionally. When you get into a trade, you let it hit take profit or stop loss. You let it ride through, right? So you have to. It's over trading is going to be the death of a lot of new traders, and is the death of a lot of new traders if you don't have patience in between trades. So we talked about that on the last webinar on how to compound your trades. If you guys are in the premium group and you guys didn't see last week's webinar, right? I talked about for about an hour and actually drew out on the charts how to compound a trade, right? How to risk 2% but still make 6, 8, 10% on a single trade, right? On one single trade, which that's all you need. A couple trades like that a month, and you have your account compounding and growing over time, which is the whole goal, the whole reason we trade, guys. If you guys have any questions, ask any questions, ask away questions. If you guys have questions about like the psychology, the mentality, somebody in Slack asked, let me see here. Lorenzo, you asked, in the next webinar, can you tell us how did you become a professional trader and what were your steps to create your strategy? I really honestly, in this short of time, don't have enough time to go into my entire strategy and everything that I do. If you watch all my webinars on YouTube, you'll pretty much get a good idea, and especially if you watch the premium webinars too, you'll get a very good idea of how I trade, the methodology of my price action trading, and then about becoming a professional trader, just really the time, just putting in time, trial and error, just doing it nonstop. I've been known about Forex for 4 years and been really seriously professionally trading for 2 years. So it's more just like the dedication, not stopping. A lot of people that get into Forex, they start doing it, they get really hyped about it, and then they get too overconfident or whatnot, and they put in too much money or risk too much money, lose their money, and then get discouraged and then move on to something else, right? So at that point, when that happened to me, it happens because it happens to everybody, right? When that happened to me, I decided not to, get discouraged and not quit and just move on to something else or try to find like another company or something to do. I just continued grinding it out and went back to demo and stopped lying to myself and, really just put in the work and just was true to myself. And when you're true to yourself and you just actually do it and you aren't just like doing it to prove it to, to say it, there's just a lot of fake people out there that are, not doing it the right way. So you just have to put in the time, really. That's all it is just dedicating it and all the hard work you put into it. Just really the time you put into the charts, time you put into your demo account, and really avoiding the discouragement by not losing real money, essentially. So only invest when you're ready to put in the real money. Demetria, you said, can traders capitalize on any economic crisis? Well, yeah, that's kind of like a gray zone, right? There's never ever been like a whole, obviously there's been, 2007, 2008, right? The housing market collapse, right? And different things like that, but there's never been like a serious, like a whole, and there's been Brexit and stuff. So if you want to put that into perspective, Demetria, right? Brexit, right? Those things that have already happened in the past couple of years and stuff. Yeah, there's like the flash crash, even like a week and a half ago, right? That could be labeled as a possible economic crisis, right? There's people that made a ton of money and people that lost a lot of money. So, because there's always going to be someone on the other side of the market, Demetria. So yes, there is always ways to capitalize. It's just, of course, harder to capitalize, just like it's harder to do anything in that type of situation. But yeah, you definitely can. It's nice. So essentially, I tell people, especially when I'm teaching people Forex, I tell them, it's nice whether the markets are up or down, you can still make money. So that's the best way to put it. James, you said, how do you take profit 1 and 2? So yeah, that's actually another question that we had. Brian said in the in the Slack, he said, if you have a chance, can you show how to do take profit 1 and 2 on a trade? So take profit 1 and 2, it can only be done in MetaTrader 4. And I recommend, I'll just post a YouTube video for you guys. But you can set it so you enter a trade and then at a certain point it'll close, half of your trade and then let the other half run until the next take profit. Some people do it different ways too. Some people will open up 2 separate trades, right? Let's say, you do the economic calendar, or I'm sorry, not the economic calendar. You do the position size calculator to risk 2%, right? And it says to enter like a 0.04 lot, right? So you enter 2.02 lots and you have one set to take profit 1 and the other set to take profit 2. right? Or depending on how you do it, some people will set they will just go in on one position. Let's say like the lot size calculator, same example, 0.04. So you get in original entry 0.04 at take profit 1. Then you look at price action, right? You say either, okay, based on price action, I'm going to enter another position, right? Or I'm sorry, I'm going to hold it to take profit 2, or I'm going to close the position at take profit 1 and look for a re-entry or adding on to your position. It really depends just on your risk appetite and the capital that you have. Compounding the trades, though, is what we're talking about. Okay, Tyran asks, how much did I lose at first when you first started? I lost a good amount. You know, like when I very first started Forex, I lost a couple $1,000s, right? Thousands and thousands of dollars. Really just like learning, not really being taught the right way. And a lot was my own fault, right? I found trading off of social media, right? I found it before a lot of there's a lot of like Forex MLMs out there. I got into Forex trading before a lot of these Forex MLMs started popping up, right? It was a lot of just traders on like YouTube putting out like YouTube videos, and traders on Instagram, and following, you know, random people's signals and stuff like that, just like everybody does. And you just have to eventually, at some point, you just have to be like true to yourself, and you just have to like stop being lazy and just like do the work for yourself. You know, you have to like analyze the charts and be able to say, okay, this works, this doesn't work. You know, you have to like you basically just have to like decide, make a change to like stop putting a little bit into it and like put your all into it. And that's why so few traders are truly successful, I believe, is because only a few percentage of traders like actually physically have the ability to be true to themselves and just like be honest. You know, too many people want to be like fake, and they like lose money and say they're making money, and that's just not the way trading is supposed to be, right? You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for time freedom, financial freedom. So but yeah, I would, and definitely, guys, my big disclaimer is, if you guys are new and watching this, like, there's a ton of money to be made, right? I easily make well over 5 figures a month trading Forex, right? It's not difficult when you have capital to trade, right? And then also when you have the education, that's the number one key, guys. That's what I'm trying to say is, there is a lot of money to be made in Forex, but you have to have the education to do it, right? I always bring up the same example of like a doctor, right? Like when you have like a doctor, let's say like a neurosurgeon, right? Somebody that like cuts open your head and like fixes like brains and stuff, right? They don't just graduate high school, right? They might want to do it after high school, but they don't graduate high school, right? Let's say like some kid that has a dream to do it, right? He doesn't graduate high school, and they put him in this operating room with the scalpel, right? He goes to school for like 6 to 10 years, like for a really long time. And the cool thing about Forex is like it's not going to take you 6 to 10 years to master it, right? Like it might take you like a couple years, just like it takes like real professional traders a couple years to master it. But like, you just have to really be true to yourself. Be like, okay, cool, this is like a legitimate, real skill that I can build my wealth with. I'm not going to be a professional master trader after a month, after 2 months, after 3 months. It's going to take me like 6 to 12 months to get a good grasp on it, and then another 6 to 12 months to even like start to really build like a plan and strategy of what works, and then like another 6 to 12 months to really even like get a good understanding and like actually start to perfect the art of it, right? So it takes some serious time, guys. But the cool thing is like you can leverage your time, and it doesn't take as much time as other things, right? If you look at that example of a doctor, right? A neurosurgeon, right? They might make some really good money, maybe like $250,000 a year, right? But they had to go to school for 6 to 10 years, right? And do like a bunch of stuff that they probably didn't want to do and don't have. And then once they are a neurosurgeon, you know, but everybody has different dreams, right? Some people are happy being in like an operating room. So that might be what they want to do. I'm not going to knock on them, but it's still like the fact that if you just compare, like, yeah, it's going to take time to learn Forex. You might not learn it in a couple months, but even if it takes you a couple years to become a professional at it, it's still like you look at the ability. You can make way more money than a doctor will ever make, and take a lot less time that they would ever have to take to make that kind of money. So that's a way to put into perspective. Roderick asks, what's the lowest amount of capital you have heard someone start with? I mean, Roderick, it really doesn't matter how much you start with. Like I said, like, because at the end of the day, if you just focus on like what matters, the education and the pips, right? It's just a process. You're just increasing your lot size based on your account. So you always want to have you always want to trade at least like or not at least, but you don't want to trade more than, let's say, like 2% of your account on every single trade. That means you don't want to risk more than 2% of your account. So I mean, you can start with $100, you can start with $1,000, but like, let me just put it this way, Roderick. If somebody handed you $100,000 right now and told you to turn that into $150,000, right, and only trading Forex, and like they said you couldn't have any education, right? Like you wouldn't know what to do with it, right? You would lose the money even if you had $100,000. So what I'm trying to say is, Roderick, it doesn't matter really how much you start with, because if you have the proper education and you learn it properly and you learn how to do it, you can grow any amount of money, right? But you have to be realistic about every amount, right? You should always be looking to grow your account about 5% a month. 10% a month is still high, but if you're a really good trader, professional trader, you could probably do it. But you know, I see there's people out there on social media that take, and I've done it too, where you take like a low amount, you know, like say $1,000 or a couple $1,000 in a couple weeks, grow it, you know, flip it, double it, or whatnot. It's possible, but it's not sustainable, guys. I've done it even when back in June. If you guys go back to my old webinars, you guys saw I had the MyFX book, right? There were a couple weeks. I took like 1 week. I took like $400 and turned it into like 2,000 in 1 week, but I just did it. That's not something sustainable. I did that simply, and I put a disclaimer before I did that. I told you guys I was doing that just to show you how to trade. So you guys could trust me that like I knew what I was doing, but that's it. Tyran asks, how long did you take to master it? A couple of years, man. It took a while to really master it and learn it and just really be serious about it. But really, the moment I started having journals, right? If you guys look at my other webinars, you guys see my desk is littered with journals. I have a bunch of trading journals. The moment I actually started writing down what worked, what didn't work, and keeping a journal and keeping a track record and just being like real, like as like a real analyst and not just like going day to day, like hoping a trade goes my way or whatever. Once I started doing like real analysis and actually learning and taking education seriously and reading different guides and reading different books, that's when I saw a serious like 180 degree, you know, turnaround and actually started profiting in the markets. But in everything I got, guys, is pretty much free. You know, like I've tried different things out there before I became like a professional sustainable trader. I had tried different groups, different signal people out there, and if you can find somebody that really works, it's good, you know, but there's not a lot of people out there. So that's one of the reasons I started doing this. All right, guys, it looks like a lot of people are starting to filter out. We still got like 45 people in here. If you guys have any last questions, sorry to go off on a tangent. That's kind of just like the psychology side. That's like the being real side with you guys about trading. It takes serious time to learn, but it's really cool. Once you have the money that you can actually invest and like make big moves with Forex, then that's when you can really seriously start to profit and more importantly, the education, guys. All right, let me show you guys one last thing. Let me show you guys something. So all you guys that are new and watching this, I really haven't showed you guys anything about this. This is the trade copier, guys. These are the results of my trade copier. Dimitri, you asked, how does it work? So this is the broker that I use, guys. I'll show you guys the broker too. Once you guys you have to sign up for the premium group, right? So you go to positivetraders.us, right? Okay. You go to positivetraders.us. Boom. You sign up right here. All right. New website will be all changed up this week, guys. Like I said, I explained the one issue we're having at the beginning of this, so we're just waiting to get that fixed. You just sign up right here. Once you sign up, Dimitra, we get you connected. We give you the link. You sign up with our broker, FX Choice. FX Choice has a really good rating. Here is their reviews, just so you can see. These are their broker reviews on Forex Peace Army, like the best place you can go to find reviews, okay? They have almost 4.5 out of 5 star reviews. with Forex Peace Army. They're a very good broker. They are regulated. Your money's safe and everything. I can't access it at all, okay? So we have about $90,000 in the managed account right now that I trade. And this tracks it, right? You guys can see that it's a real verified account. The drawdown is 1%. Very low risk, right? This is basically what a bank does with your money. And then they give you a very still tiny amount back, right? So that's like a little side note, right? The banks basically take your money when it's invested in your bank account, right? You have like $5,000 in your bank. It shows you have 5,000, and you'll get 5,000 if you go to the bank, right? They won't like not give you your money, but they're just, it's not your same $5,000, right? That's like printed new money, and they took your money and invested it, making these kinds of percentages back, right? So 6% gain so far. We started it actually 1 month ago, yesterday. 6%. So that's pretty good. We've risked less than 1% to make more than 6%. I'm trying to get another 5% just this week alone. I want another 10% before Halloween, but you guys can see we are 100% winning trades so far. But Demetria, we help you get it all set up. And then as far as like the controlling of the money, you guys control your withdrawals and deposits. You can do that 24/7. We can't touch your money whatsoever. I only control the trades and the risk, which you can see. You can use this to gauge like how much you can expect me to risk, which is less than 2%. And we'll be flowing through at this. If you guys are wanting to catch some more stuff, go to my YouTube, right? This is our YouTube, youtube.com/C for channel /positive traders. You guys can watch all of our old webinars, right? We've got some really good ones on there. Some of the periscopes are super awesome, guys. Like it's really good. Yes. So if you guys are just getting on, in the beginning I talked about the website. I'll just say just one more time. The website is completely done. I'm going to be on Periscope in a little bit. I want to show you guys it. I don't want to go to it on here now, or you guys will be able to see the link, right? Because the link is essentially public, but I'm going to show you guys the back office. But the thing is we're having an issue when you join as like a free member, and then you have like the free member back office, and then you upgrade, and then it doesn't change to the premium member back office like right away. So everything else works, but like the premium, like going straight to premium member works, being a free member works, but that conversion isn't working with our API. So our web developer is getting it fixed right now. So we're going to have it done like very shortly, but the design and everything is done. I'm going to show you guys that today. James, I will definitely post that video about the taking profits for you. And Brandon, you said, can we ourselves execute trades while the account is under the trade copier? No. So when you're with FX Choice, you can have multiple accounts, Brandon. So you can have like a live account, right? That's separate, right? That let's say you have like $10,000, right? You want to put like 5,000 in the MAM, and then you want to trade 5,000. You could have like a 5,000 in the MAM, and then that one you can't touch. You can log into the terminal. You can see all the trades. It'll act and feel just like your normal account, but it's not going to have, when you try to trade it, it's going to say trading is disabled or something like that. But you can have a separate live account. And the nice thing is with FX Choice, you can do an inter-account transfer, right? You can like transfer back and forth as often as you want, and there's no fees, and it's instantly too. It all happens instantly. And the cool thing is if you guys are a client of mine, they do open the option to use a card. So if you guys, I know a lot of people that have FX Choice, they don't like that you can only wire transfer, which is true for a lot of places, but I have a special partnership with FX Choice where they allow you guys, my clients, to use like a credit or debit card, like a Visa or a MasterCard or an Amex or whatever. And then you also get all of your fees back to you refunded if you deposit at least $500 or more. So Tyron, to join, you just go to my website. So you go to my website, okay, just positivetraders.us. You sign up. After you sign up, okay, let me show you guys. So this is what you get as a premium member. Okay, so you guys get access to this, my trade copier. Okay, which is, you guys can expect 5 to 10% growth per month. That's what we aim for. That's what we've been getting, right? We have the proof right here with very low risk, right? Less than 2% risk. We've had less than 1% so far. And it's compound. The whole thing is compounded over time, right? There's no pips, right? That like is guaranteed in here. It's a percentage. All right. And then we have the signals. So let me show you guys the signals. Let me show you guys. I'm going to show you just a preview. So this is Slack, guys. This is what we use. It's accessible on your phone or your computer. Okay, you can have it on both, your tablet, whatever. It's really cool. You can have it on everything, log into it on everything. And you guys can see, sometimes I'll drop some trades, right? A bunch of trades at once. Like this is Friday. All of these trades went into profit. Right, this one didn't technically get activated, but if you took an aggressive one on it, it went into profit. I give a full analysis, right? USD chafe, boom. I send, if you guys look, watch. Boom. You guys see, right? I clicked on it, right? This is the link that I clicked on. If you guys go look, watch, let's look at USD chafe. Boom, USD chafe. Boom, right? Dang, that's crazy. Boom. Went straight up, right? So we sent that out. So I sent out each trade with a full analysis. All right, USD Jappy, let's look at that. Boom, right up. Let's go look at USD Jappy. That was on the 4-hour. Right, USD Jappy. Boom, right up. Right, so you guys can see. So I give a full stop loss, take profit one. Some come with multiple take profits, right? So you get all of those. We help you set up the notification. So I use this word, the word trade call, like every time I make a trade. So and you can go in your settings, your notifications, and set it up. So every time I say trade call, your phone dings, right? So so you get, and I send out 5 to 10 of these minimum, right? So sometimes there'll be weeks I send out, 10, 12, 15, 20, sometimes crazy weeks. There's been weeks where it's been like that. So 5 to 10 of these a week minimum, and the trade copier. And then you also get the education, right? The education. I'll show you guys on Periscope what I'm talking about with the education later. We have a bunch of private playlists. It's for the premium members, but if I go to it right now, it'll show you, it'll end up showing you guys the link, but this is it right here. You guys can see, look right here, boom. If I were to click on that right there, you guys would see the link, and then boom, it's right there. So I'll show you guys on Periscope a little bit later. But any questions that you guys have? Jeremy, we're changing to Stripe officially, like this as soon as we have this last just small back office issue fixed. So it could be tomorrow, it could be Tuesday, it could be Wednesday, but it's going to be, I don't see why it wouldn't be this week. So Tyron, you said I have the signals already, but you just want to get the trade copier too. Okay, so Tyron, if you're in the Slack group already, send me a message on Slack and we'll send you the guide. But there's a guide that I think I sent you when you join the Slack. It's all the instructions are in there. But I'll send you it again if you didn't get it. Just PM me on Slack. But guys, that's it. I really appreciate you guys' time. I hope you guys got to catch all the different trade setups that we're looking at. Definitely just keep your eyes open. There are some solid setups. Remember, gold, USD, Jappy, all of these are some good setups this week. So I'll catch you guys on Slack and Telegram. I appreciate all of you guys, and I will see you guys later.